Hey everyone, my name is Riley and I am the Moto Medic. Today, I got a fun video for you guys. I got some parts that are back there on the table that I'm going to be putting on the YZ today. So it's going to be fun and I'm getting excited, so let's get into it. This is my YZ250. For the past year now, I've been building this thing into a more off-road, single-track, hard enduro specific bike. And I've done a lot of things to it, but there are some things that I've been wanting to do to just make it that more adept when it comes to off-road and hard enduro. Starting over here, I have my Scott's steering stabilizer. I've had this thing for a couple of years now, but it just needed to be sent back in to get rebuilt. So I finally got that back. I'm super excited to have that back on the bike. It's one of the best modifications I've done to the bike over the years. And not having it on the bike, it was surely missed. So I'm super excited to have the thing back on there. Next, I'm finally swapping out my gears. So I have a YZ250 wide ratio transmission kit. So this will help me with my top end. I'm able to, not have to mess with my counter sprocket and sprocket as much to get those higher speeds throughout the desert and stuff like that. I also got a gasket kit just because anytime we're splitting the cases or taking apart a motor, I want to put fresh gaskets back in the motor. So we got this gasket kit from Pro X. They make some good stuff. And then finally, the big thing, we've got a Fisch Moto electric start kit. I've been wanting to do this for a long time now, and I'm super excited about this kit. Having a electric start YZ250 is probably one of the coolest things that you can have. So, came with a 8-cell lithium-ion battery. Currently, I have a 4-cell in the bike, but I'll be upgrading to the 8, and I'm super excited to get this thing installed. I've already pulled it out and kind of looked at it, but the machining on this thing is absolutely beautiful. So we're gonna put that all on the bike today, so stay tuned. First things first is we got to get that motor out of the engine and onto that table so we can split the cases and put on our wide ratio transmission. So let's get to it. So we've got the motor out of the bike. There's the bike, and then there's my mess of parts that I took off of it. Ran into a couple snags. I dropped a bolt, and then it went over under the truck, and then I couldn't find it. So it took a little longer than expected, but we got it out. So we're gonna start the tear down of this bad boy and get that transmission in. So we've got good news and we've got bad news. Good news is we've got our cases split and our transmission's out. Bad news is, as I was opening up, I noticed the oil had a lot of little metal shavings down inside of it, quite a bit actually. So did some inspections and we got a couple bearings that are pretty much shot. This one right here, this one still spins, but there's one over here that doesn't spin at all. Yeah, it's all locked up. So unfortunately, you know, we found some problems within the motor, so got to deal with it, I guess. So I'm gonna run down to the store tomorrow, try to pick up some bearings before I put this thing all back together. In the meantime, I'm gonna try to clean up everything as best as I can with some contact cleaner. All right, so we got our transmission out. We disassembled it. I've cleaned up all the parts in here with some contact cleaner. Trying to get all those shavings out. But we've got our new transmission gears lined up with new snap rings. We're going to put this thing back together. And then next I got to pull the bearings out of these case halves. So we'll put this thing back together and then she'll be ready to go back in. Not gonna lie, I was a little bummed out about the bearings. When I first drained the oil, I noticed it just didn't look right. It was more sludgy than usual. And as I was digging into the motor, wiping up oil with a rag, I noticed how all the metal shavings. So it happens, but you know, I'm kind of glad that I did this and I caught it now before we could have had some major catastrophic mechanical issue in the future. So I guess it's grace that I found it now. So we'll fix it, and they're already in the motor, so I might as well replace all the bearings. So I ordered a bunch. I got overnight delivery from motosport.com, so it'll be here sometime today, and we'll get back to it. We'll clean this thing up. We'll pull our bearings, and we'll get a transmission ready to go. And so by the time that those bearings come, I can just put those things in and put this motor back together. So, all right, so we got the transmission back in with the wide ratio gearing, new bearings all installed. We're gonna get these two case halves back together, and then I'll get back to you when I have the motor put back together. So I'll see you then. So it's been a couple days. Motor is back in the bike. I had a couple issues with my transmission. The shift fork was not seating in its actual place properly, and it was causing it to bind, and I couldn't figure out why the bike wouldn't shift. So that took a long time, and I really didn't want to record it. So, but the bike's back in and it shifts now. So we're ready to get the e-start installed. So I've got the stator removed. I put everything together, and I just hadn't installed the stator yet. We do have to install the Woodruff key. They brought a new one, so I just figured I'd put that in. And then while we do this, I'm also going to do my ignition timing because I did take apart the bike, so I'll do that as well. And then over here we've got our wide ratio transmission kit. So we're gonna start by putting this Woodruff key in. Before I go any further, I figured I'd pull everything out of the box and show you what we're dealing with and what came with this kit. So starting down here, we have that Woodruff key that I talked about a second ago, which will probably be the first thing we install. It came with this nice little lanyard thing. I don't know if that's supposed to be like put your keys or something. Probably use it, probably won't. We got our wiring harness with our starter button. We've got some sort of belt. I think this is to hold the battery in. That's what I would assume. We've got, I think this is for like I have no clue what this is. We'll find we'll figure out what that is later. We've got some sort of tubing, some extra bolts, some gasket maker, and what I can assume is some Loctite, some zip ties. This is the bracket for the battery, and then this is also part of the bracket for the battery. We've got our actual starter here. We've got our ignition cover, or stator cover. Gas kit, they came with two. I don't know if I'm supposed to double up or if we're using two. The actual starter gear. And then the new 8-cell lithium-ion battery, and then the installation guide, which I will definitely be following because I don't know what some of these things are. So we're going to be learning together on how to put this thing in. So let's start with that woodruff key. All right, so that woodruff key is installed, and it doesn't state it on the instructions, but I'm going to throw some gasket maker on the inside groove of this rubber seal here. This whole reservoir is going to be filled with oil, so I'm just going to, go above and beyond so we don't have any leaks. So that's what I'm going to do next. All right, so now it says to trim with an X-Acto knife this little part right here. Now this gasket is aftermarket because this is a 25-watt stator, so mine sticks out a little further than usual, so I'll kind of have to hold it. So I'm gonna hold it right there and then trim it. So we've run into an issue. This bike is a 2003, but this motor is actually a 2002. And when I ordered the new crankshaft, when I took it apart and I put a new crankshaft in it because I was already in there, I ordered a 2003 crankshaft, forgetting this is a 2002 motor. Well, in 2003 and 2004, or 2002 and 2003, they changed their flywheel size, so that doesn't fit on there. So I have to order a new flywheel and nut. So in the meantime, I can hook up the wiring. All right, so I'm gonna hook up my starter switch. I think I'm just gonna move these two things over and put this guy right there. I think that'll work good. We're just gonna loosen this guy up, hopefully just enough to slide it over. And then I think I'm actually gonna have to be able to get back there to take out that screw. So I need to fill up. All right, so I got this moved over. I think if I just move this guy to right there, this will fit perfectly right in there. Yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna put it. All right, we got our E-start hooked up. So I have it round down to right here. Now we're gonna put this battery box in. It should just slide in like so. If I want it this way or flip it the other way. I'll figure that out. Actually, scratch that. I'm gonna put this in after I put in all of the wiring. All right, so I've got the wiring harness all hooked up. I've got the battery installed with my positive negative down to this pack down here. This all over here is wiring from my pre-existing harness that I had installed for the light and the GPS. I have it ran to here, moving up to the on-off switch, and then it goes down to these two leads down here, which will eventually hook on to the starter itself. So that's where we're at right now. I'm just gonna throw the plastics and seat and everything back on, because all that's left to do is put in the starter. But as I said before, I've got to wait for that new flywheel. So I will see you then. All right, so we got the new flywheel. It's been a couple weeks. We got it installed. Now we're ready to put together our e-start assembly. So last time we already used the gasket sealer on this rubber grommet here. Next we're going to be putting in the starter gear. So it says to grab a Allen here, and it has these these pins in the back, and those are going to go into the stock flywheel. So I'm just going to have to see if I can do this right here. Thread it on and guide those holes into the flywheel. So in the instructions, it says only use gasket sealer on certain points. One main point of contention is this rubber gasket down here. So that's where I'm going to be focusing most of my efforts on needing gas seal up. So. Up here. This ain't gaskets. Now it came with 2 gaskets. I'm not quite sure why, but hopefully. Alright, so we got our gasket on, and our gear. I'm gonna throw in our starter housing. So it says you kind of have to angle it a little bit. So we will, because it has this lip down here, so you kind of have to like angle it around the starter gear to get it initially on there, like so. These guys on just a little bit, just enough to hold it here. So it says to use this gear alignment tool to make sure things meshed right. I don't even have this thing on all the way, but it looks like it's meshed pretty well. See, to me it seems like it's meshing well, which that makes me second guess how I did this, because nothing I do ever, nothing I ever do ever goes super easy. So we'll take this bolt out. Alright, before I tighten these suckers down, I'm going to read a little bit of this. Had to run this door and grab some oil. It recommends 75W90, so I got some nice valve oiling for this. We're going to take off this little drain plug here, the drain cap. And the nice thing is, this tool they gave us is actually a funnel. So that's pretty handy, if you ask me. So it says it wants 250 mLs. So we have enough. All right, oil's in. We're gonna put that plug back in. All right, so now we're gonna install the starter. All right, so the last thing that you guys saw was me put the oil into the reservoir. Turns out when I did that, I had a pretty significant leak coming from right here where the stator wire. So I took it apart and liberally applied some gasket maker. I went a little overboard with the gasket maker, but I'd rather be safe than sorry, and got it to where a point where it's not leaking anymore. So I filled it up. I haven't started it yet. I just filled it up, make sure it's not leaking, and then we'll fire it up for the first time, and then we'll check for some leaks after, once the oil gets circulated through those gears. All right, first start with the electric start YZ250. Let's turn my choke on real quick. A little hard to get to with all the wires. All right, ready? That is so cool. All right, one more time, ready? Oh, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Oh, I'm so happy. Yes! Well, that's all I got for you folks. I'm super pumped. Can't wait to take this out. We're going to Big Bear in a week or so. So we're going to be testing it out there. Hopefully nothing goes wrong and everything works properly. But yeah, I'm super pumped. No leaks currently. So nothing on the ground. I do have a small radiator leak. I got to fix that. It's on the list. But one more for good luck. All right. We'll see y'all later. God bless.